With a million podcasts out there, we're grateful you chose Toilets to Titles. We give fantasy football advice to get your crap team to the finals. From Nate's cousin Eddie Persona and his unapologetic love for Chubb and Justin's hatred for Chris Ballard, our show is as good as a belly rub. Mark is the best of the NFC West, putting down Penguin Pete with his love for the Rams. Grab a whiskey or a beer, we're glad you're here. Welcome to the family, but plan for gibberish and rambling. We have recent news and games of the week. We talk PPR and weekly streams. Start 'em and sit 'em, keep 'em or quit 'em. Hit the like and sub buttons for the fellas. Got any suggestions? Just tell us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Toilets to Titles. My name is Justin Stevens, and we're back with episode number 247, Week 6 NFL preview. So thank you very much for tuning in. We got a lot on the show today. Nothing super aggressive out of the ordinary, but we do have a little bit more recent news that just popped up today, and of course, a few extra injuries to add on to the pile. But we do want to thank you for tuning in, and please make sure to reach out to us at toiletstotitles@gmail.com if you have any questions or suggestions. Also, hit us up on that Discord chat. We do have a Discord that we keep up and running, and we have guys responding all times of the day and night. So feel free to hit us up with any questions on that Discord. If you want to get in on that Discord, all you got to do is reach out to us at JustinFF_, at Nate_Dirt19, at NT Simon, and of course at Toilets to Titles. Let's see, guys. Any big takeaways from the Week 5 matchups? And you can talk about your own team if you want, or you can just talk about in general any big takeaways that we got from Week 5 that maybe we want to talk about. And I'll let whoever start.
I was gonna chime in there, and I think you did the Discord a disservice. Like, you didn't mention how we have breaking news in the Discord. We have Justin breaking news himself on a daily basis. Today, he announced the Devontae Adams to New York trade way before anybody else did. Oh wait, because it didn't happen.
Yeah, it will happen though. But yeah, you know what? I should have known that was coming. I wanted to pull it. Like, how am I not supposed to know? Like that's not even. It didn't even look like it was a fake account.
I mean, if you scrolled through any of that guy's other posts and read any of them, you would tell that it was a fake account. Like, it's pretty bad, some of the stuff he's posted on there.
I guess like he's done a good job of hiding it. I guess that, or I feel like I have seen that guy's post in the past. Maybe it's a parody account for somebody that's legit, but I mean, the guy had like several 100,000 viewers. Like, it was, it all seemed perfectly legit to me. So I thought I was breaking the news to our Discord guys, but yeah, way to knock down the reliability and durability of our Discord. But also, I just mostly wanted to get everybody's attention because in that Discord is where I also posted the link to watch this video. So I got everybody's attention so they can watch the video, and we're going to pretend like that's what my plan was all along. What about you, Nick? Any actual Week 5 things that we got that we need to look forward to?
I mean, quite a bit. I think there was, it was fun. The NFL's very weird. It's like there's no good. I don't want to say there's no good teams, but there's a lot of teams that aren't very good. It seems like than usual. But I think the Bengals are pretty well toast. That was one of my preseason favorites. I think they're pretty well done. The Ravens' pass defense is really bad. I think the Cowboys' defense is pretty poor. It's just weird. It was, and I can't believe that the Cardinals came back and beat the 49ers. So. Yeah.
I wouldn't say the Bengals are done, though. I mean, I get their record. It's going to be a huge uphill climb.
Well, their defense sucks.
But
so.
They were clicking on every cylinder last week.
Well,
they just a missed kick in overtime cost them.
Well, but their defense sucks, and the Ravens' pass defense is really bad. So they should have looked good. They couldn't run the ball. I don't know. I feel like Zach Taylor's been making some dumb decisions too. I mean, I that whole thing when I just don't know why a team would kick the ball. I get it. Oh, sorry. I love field goals, believe me. But when you're trying to kick a 55-yarder, and I know like there's guys right now that seem like we're just banging these 50-yarders like no big deal. Joe B always looks good, Lori. I promise. I know I'm a big Joe B guy, but the team as a whole. But I mean, when these guys on fourth down, they want to kick a field goal, a 55-yarder, like that's not automatic, even though we kind of think it is sometimes, and then what are you doing? You give them an incredibly short field, and, it doesn't take much, especially in overtime. You just got, it makes you nervous. And
did you see the hold though? Like, that's why he missed the kick. It wasn't just a missed kick. The guy had it like flat on the ground and barely got it up before he kicked the ball.
I know, but I
don't think that this is what she meant by Joe B looked good. To be honest with you, I think she meant he looked good.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay, all right. Just making sure we were tracking.
He did score me 110 points in Frankenstein, 109 points because he threw 5 touchdowns. But
that's true. She's thinking the other kind of fantasy, but Tank Bigsby is definitely a thing. Yeah, so I was a year early on him, but I didn't give up. I did draft him in a few redraft leagues. I think it was 3. I looked it up earlier and put it in the notes. I'm going to be talking about it later. But Tank Bigsby is definitely a thing for the Jaguars. And, I mean, yeah, he's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week because he's not going to get to face the Colts every week. But he definitely looked better than ETN, and it looked like they had relegated ETN to the third down back role, that receiving down role, so they could both still have some fantasy relevance. But I think it hurts ETN. It helps those of you that are desperate and have taken a shot on Tank Bigsby. That's kind of what I really learned. I also learned the Texans, man, that offense looked pitiful after Nico went down. Like, it looked completely different. It was not the same offense for the rest of the game. So I'm interested to see that game moving forward as well. But we'll get into that a little bit more moving forward. But those are just some of the things. Yeah,
I did learn that you beat me by 1 point in our staff league, so that was cool. Thanks for ruining my day.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. And I think I have 1 loss in that league.
You should have had 2.
I should have had 4. I've had a few of them that were really super close like that. I've gotten pretty lucky in that league. I'm not gonna lie, but I'll take it. Let's see. As a matter of fact, I feel like you guys, just because I'm like, they call me mom on the show, I feel like you guys are like, I don't know, letting me win. Like, I don't know, but I'll take it. All right, so big injuries. We've got Aaron Rodgers, possible ankle sprain, a high ankle sprain. Guys, we're not going to have super good updates on this because we're recording this on Tuesday night. So on all these injuries, as I blast through them, you two can just comment if you want to or not. But as I'm going through these, just understand that Friday, TGIF, George and I, assuming that George hasn't been swept away by the hurricane in Florida, and obviously we hope nothing but safety for everybody down there in Florida. But reach out to us if you need anything, or if we can do anything from up here in non-hurricane valley in the Midwest and East Coast North, like the 3 of us are. But anyway, we're thinking about you guys. But if George is able to have internet and able to calm down the hurricane enough, he'll be with me. If not, I'll fly solo or I'll get somebody else to do it. But the updates that we give you are from Dr. Jesse Morris, a guy that has the insight, that is posting 2 or 3 days before anybody is posting announcements that players are out. And he's posting ahead of time to tell you how many weeks, and he's usually right, if not dead on, then within a week. So definitely want to subscribe to the injury experts. That's experts with a Z on the end. And tell them that Toilets the Title sent you, but we don't have an affiliate with them. They're not a sponsor. I just really love the product. It's Aaron Rodgers, possible high ankle sprain. Derek Carr, left oblique strain, likely out 2 to 3 weeks before he even gets the opportunity to return to practice. And right now there's talks that Spencer Rattler could get the start for the New Orleans Saints. So that might look like a different offense for a little while. Josh Allen cleared concussion protocol just minutes after hitting the ground hard. So that one looked a little bit weird to me. Something didn't quite seem right about that. He hit his head and then he like grabbed his shoulder or his, whatever. And they were like inspecting him for not concussion, and then he cleared concussion protocol. So it's kind of iffy there. Kind of reminded me of the first big Tua concussion that wasn't called a concussion back in the day. Will Levis, likely an AC sprain grade 1 in his throwing shoulder. This one did not update like I had.
Shouldn't affect him.
Update, but he should be good to go for week 6, everything except his talent. AR, hip, oblique, and abdominal strain.
Question.
Yeah.
Can I start Joe Flacco this weekend? What's going on here? Like, I'm pissed I didn't start him in a league last week because he scored more than my Superflex quarterback. I should have done it.
I feel like if you didn't start Joe Flacco, then you should listen to this show called Toilets of Titles and talk to some of the people in the Discord there.
I know me and you were all about him, but we also lost that bathroom board bet where we said he'd outscore Joe Burrow. But I just is he playing?
Was that just for this week?
I thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah.
I mean, what were you going to do the whole season?
Possible, yes. I probably at the start of the season, I very likely could have, because remember how I wasn't confident that Burrow was actually going to be ready, and then I'm always confident that AR is going to get hurt. Like I very likely could have made that bet at the start of the season, even though I
think we just did that last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, so I don't think that it's smart for AR to play. So you were asking about that next one. He's got a hip oblique, about abdominal strain. He could be back this week, but if he comes back, according to Dr. Jesse Morris, there is a very high likelihood of a re-injury if he does come back. So just based off of what he's written, without him actually saying that AR is going to be out, I've got a strong feeling AR is going to be out. Or if he comes back, he gets that re-injury, he's going to be out for a long time. Either way, don't get rid of Flacco just yet. Hang on to him, even if AR comes back this week. See what happens. It's just one roster spot. Unless you had to pick him up because you had to start him and you don't have a choice, then sure, go ahead and drop him. But you're just going to be picking him back up next week if AR plays. So I would hang on to Flacco. Probably going to end up starting him most likely. They are playing against the Titans, divisional rivalry. And Flacco actually knows how to throw the football. So, yeah, you're probably going to start him. Will Levis, like I said, probably going to play. Why did this not? I updated this, and some of these didn't update. All right. Aaron Jones, right hip, possibly a hammy, probably out until about weeks 8 to 10, somewhere in there. So that's a little bit more of a range. That tells me we'll probably have it narrowed down to a closer estimated week by Friday. So Aaron Jones, who else do we have? We got Ty Chandler up there. Did anybody else? What?
Woof. There's another. Yeah.
Woof.
Joe and I talked about it on the waiver show, and I just forgot who it was now. Darn it. And the Vikings are on a bye this week too, so we'll probably have better. You may not get clarification Friday. It may be next week because they're on bye.
Sorry, I was trying to pull up the waiver wire doc and accidentally pulled something else up.
Were you trying to think of who the other running back in Minnesota was?
Yeah, I don't think it was
CJ Ham.
Well, he's the fullback.
Well, he's the only other running back they have, I think.
No, there was somebody. It starts with an N. It has the long name. So I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah. Or no, he's in Houston.
Yeah.
He's in Houston now. All right. But let's see. Rashad White, possible right high ankle sprain. And this is on top of the other injuries that they feel like he's probably already healed up from. So he's now facing potentially another injury here. As of right now, they don't think it's too serious, but he does want to monitor practice this week and find out. Joe Mixon, a right high or medial ankle sprain, says that he could be back somewhere between week 6 to 8. So we could potentially see Joe Mixon back this week or up to week 8. JT, with his high ankle sprain, probably going to be out at least one more week, maybe 2. Nick Chubb, here you go, Nate. Nick Chubb is still likely to make his big return around week 7 or 8. Are you confident?
No, because he's on the Browns and they are effing terrible. I mean, gosh, they're bad. By the way, the other running back in Minnesota is everyone's favorite, Miles Gaskin.
Miles Gaskin. So he is still in the league. Devin Singletary has a groin strain. He could return week 6, but the Giants but do the Giants want to rush it? That's an extra question I threw in there. So we got to see what Tyrone Tracy had to offer for the Giants this weekend. I'm not so sure that they necessarily want to rush Devin Singletary getting back, knowing that Tracy is more than serviceable. But once he's back, is there a chance that Tracy takes over that job?
I don't know. I think Tracy looked good, but I think Singletary's kind of their guy. Like, I don't remember Hard Knocks, like, Joe Shane, they were like pumped to get Devin Singletary, and he's been pretty good actually for the Giants, but I feel like it'll be more of like a two-headed monster thing than anything. I don't think they'll.
I think they both like Singletary.
I just don't understand why.
I agree.
Zach Moss. So this was a roller coaster, I'm sure, for you, Mark, and also you, Nate. I'm pretty sure you're also a Chase Brown guy, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
So Zach Moss, right high ankle sprain, but it's possibly very mild. So not very likely at this point that it's going to be anything too serious. Chase Brown did get an opportunity to pick up a few more touches this week. He obviously still showed that he is good. But Zach Moss could potentially not miss much time at all. I kind of feel like if you have Chase Brown and you sign Zach Moss, you have them both for a reason. Why not sit Zach Moss for a week or two? But that's just me trying to think outside the box. But we know coaches never really make the smart decision. Ramondre with a mild knee sprain.
I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure Moss came back in after he suffered the injury. But
yeah, I saw that in our Discord. So,
yeah. But get him out of there. Let him go. Let him use the injuries as an excuse. It's Chase Brown's job.
Yep.
It's his job. Let's go. Get him out of there.
Chuck Brown time.
And actually, now that I think about it, it was actually Stevenson that I thought that somebody in the Discord said that they came back out after they had injured their knee. So it could have been both of them. But Ramondre also, as of right now, Dr. Jesse Morse is saying it's a mild knee sprain. I'm not too overly concerned about it, but obviously you want to monitor that. Stevenson has shown that if he's healthy, he's going to be the guy. Even when they tried to make him the backup, he was still the guy. Devon Achane, concussion, bye week in week 6, so that fell at just the right time for him. So he'll probably be ready for week 7. Nico Collins, this one hurts, guys, because almost every single league I have Rashee Rice. Almost every single league I have Nico Collins. This one isn't just a hamstring injury. This is a hamstring re-injury. That means that this is the same one that he had tweaked earlier in camp and preseason. He's very likely out until at least week 8, according to Dr. Jesse Morris. That's not a report that you've seen probably anywhere else, but he's saying it's very likely at least week 8 because of the re-injury and the type of injury that it is. So monitor that as best you can, but be ready to be without him for a couple of weeks, which is no good. Ray Rice, still on that ACL. We still don't have definite 100% answers just yet as to whether or not it's going to be complete season, but they did at least say that it's not as severe as they had originally thought it would be, meaning that his return timetable could be, at some point during this earlier off season rather than waiting until the start of next season and then hoping that he's ready and maybe starting on PUP. The downside is he also has the impending suspension that's going to be hitting him, so he's already still going to be missing that time. All this does is give us a very small glimmer of hope that there's a chance he could be back for our fantasy playoffs, but I'm not holding out hope. I really don't think that's going to happen. Have you guys heard anything other than that on Rashee Rice?
No, just that he's expected to miss the season.
Yeah. But until they make it official, I refuse to drop him. Malik Neighbors.
Oh, your boy Jesse Morris is saying it's time to let go of the false optimism.
Yes, he is, and you should listen to him, but I'm not. Malik Neighbors, concussion, probably back week 6. So that was just a one-game thing. He should be good to go. I'm not really sure why I still have Christian Watson on here. I thought he was one of them that I had dropped off, but that was a left high ankle sprain. He'll probably still continue to miss some more time. He's not been on IR yet, so I don't think that it's going to be the full 4 weeks, but we'll see. Cooper Kupp, any other updates, Mark, other than just a possible week 6 return?
Yeah, it's just possible. I'm hopeful, but I wouldn't be shocked the way the season's going if they let him rest a little longer. But I really do hope he comes back because Jordan Whittington got hurt in the game last week as well.
What's the Rams' record now?
One win against San Francisco.
See, I mean, like, can they afford to wait any longer than they absolutely have to? Like,
I think with the amount of injuries we have on the defensive side, I'm just being realistic. I think they're looking at like the season might be over already.
Yeah, and that's
the only thing that's keeping hopes up is the entire division is shit. San Francisco continues to lose. Seattle's losing to the Giants. Like, I mean, you can get in the playoffs by winning the division, and nobody's running away with it. So,
but I mean, aside from that Cardinals game, all of your games have been 1-score games. Like, I kind of feel like Cooper Kupp alone could have helped make a difference in at least 1 or 2 of those games had he been healthy.
For sure.
So, I don't know.
Sure.
I'm hoping they bring him back. I mean, obviously, but just for fantasy purposes. But you are right too, especially at his age. Like, you don't want to risk,
I just think they're going to bring him back. I just think if it's not 100%, he's good to go. They're not going to risk it.
Well, Devonta Smith and AJ Brown probably back in week 6. David Njoku suffering another little hiccup, but this one possible meniscus tear. So we're waiting for further details on that one before we report too much. But a meniscus tear does not sound good. I'm not a doctor, but Taysom Hill, multiple rib fractures, is now 50-50 for week 6, and Sam Laporta, right ankle sprain, 100% good to go for week 6. All right. Anything else on the injury front that we want to talk about?
I don't think so. Oh, the only other thing I was going to say, did you see the A-chain hit that caused the concussion? He got hit in the back.
Yeah, his head hit the ground.
I didn't even see his head hit the ground. Like,
who's got a bigger helmet in the backfield?
And I was like, I couldn't believe it was a concussion.
Oh,
who's going to wear the bigger helmet with the Guardian cap, him or Tua in the backfield? They going to be able to fit in the huddle?
Dude, I know it's for safety reasons, and I'm all for it. But like,
those things look so stupid. I'm sorry.
It reminds me of like
for what it's worth,
they put the code in to get the huge heads in the video game.
Yeah,
like the big head code.
Yeah. For what it's worth, there's yet to be a player that's wearing a Guardian cap that has gotten a concussion yet this season. So, I mean, that's something. It's only like 1 to 5 players per team that are actually wearing it. So, that's the lesser odds that it's going to happen anyway. But I'm just saying, Robert Saleh out as the Jets head coach. So, I mean, kind of a surprise, kind of not. An overall record of 20-36 over the course of his 3 years almost career. They hired him back in 2021. Defensive coordinator is going to be stepping up. They still have Hackett on. They still kept on Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator. And, like, in my mind, kind of feeling like he was probably more of the problem than the head coach, Robert Saleh, in my opinion. But I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a Jets fan. I don't know the ins and outs, but do you think maybe there might be something to this story other than just the product that the owner's seeing on the field?
I mean, you haven't realized it's the Aaron Rodgers show. The reason Nathaniel Hackett has a job is because of Aaron Rodgers. The reason Robert Saleh probably doesn't have a job anymore is because of Aaron Rodgers. The reason they're bad right now is because of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. So there's your narrative. Do you have a different one, Nate?
Yeah, Bob Saleh stinks.
Oh, okay. So You're just straight up going with coach sucks.
As a coach or a head coach? Because I think he's going to have the pick of any defensive coordinator job.
Yeah, that's fine. He can be a defensive coordinator. He's like Josh McDaniels. Like, just stay in your lane. Don't try to do something you're bad at. Like, it didn't work. It's never worked. He's not a leader of men. He's a cheerleader or a defensive coordinator. He's up there rah-rah, woohoo, and running up and down the field, not doing anything like a coach does. Like, he's not a good head coach. And it didn't matter, and like I said, you can blame Aaron all you want. I don't care. I'm not saying he's played great. Their offense looks like crap, and it's probably him and Hackett both. I mean, their offense, there's no it's just old. It seems like there's no new, there's not a bunch of motion. Like, I mean, every offense has a ton of motion now. It seems like it's an old West Coast offense that doesn't work. They target Garrett Wilson. He had 22 targets last week. The only guy, and he caught, 12 or 13 balls, but I think his average, what I think it was 7. He averaged like 7 yards a catch. Big deal. He had 22 targets. Like, if you're not getting down the field, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I said, you can throw, Derek Carr can throw 30 checkdowns a game and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I think Bob Saul is a bad coach. I'm not sure how he still had his job this year, but I think they wanted to give him another shot. And Woody Johnson finally like, you know what, I'm done. This is a waste of time. I don't think Jeff Ulrich is the guy. And I don't think he'll be there past this year. I mean, I don't think there's been very many guys that have been an interim head coach that have been hired on as the full-time head coach, and it's worked for very long. I mean, look at Antonio Pierce. He's struggling. Just because the locker room falls in love with a guy after the head coach gets fired doesn't really mean it's going to work going forward. So I just think they're kind of in a bad spot as a whole. And like I said, whether it's Aaron's fault or not, I mean, the whole team, I just don't feel like they're playing that well. I mean, Breece Hall can't do anything. And they're not trying to run the ball. They have 8 carries.
Yeah.
No, I think when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers on the team, it's kind of like in basketball with LeBron. The head coach doesn't get to be a head coach. It's make LeBron happy, make Aaron Rodgers happy. And that's what he had to do. Before he had Aaron Rodgers there, what we're looking at is Zach Wilson as his best option as quarterback. Like, I don't think he really was ever put in a position to have a chance to succeed. And just because they go out and get an aged Aaron Rodgers, who is a legend of the game, but he's not him anymore.
Yeah. And I think maybe I was even looking into it even more so than that. The narrative I was looking at is the Raiders have stated that they're hoping to be within 48 hours of a deal with Devontae Adams to get him out of there. And then we have, obviously the connection there with Aaron Rodgers. I was thinking maybe Rodgers was really pushing to get Adams there, and Saleh was against it, and ownership had to make a decision because the way that it went down, them not letting him go into the building and go talk to the team and everything today, and then like into that portion of the building with the players, and then he had to be escorted out by security. Like, it was all just a very crazy, weird story for me in 2024, where coaches know that they're on the hot seat every single week. Like,
Except
what could have
Peterson.
I was just going to say, weird question.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Let's see. We do have some comments here. We got Bobby Trauma. What's up, Bobby? Yep. Waiver Wire Show. We dropped to the Patreons. Nate and Joe dropped that one to the Patreons late last night, early this morning. Let's see. Lori is talking about Anthony Richardson. I need to know the severity of AR's ankle. Oh, wait, no, other AR, Aaron Rodgers. Okay. So the severity of the ankle, as of right now, we don't know. We're going to find out by Friday, though. So I know that may not help you right now if you're trying to make a Frank decision. Oh, wait, Frank's already up. She already made her decision on Frank, though. She went a different direction, but all right. Patreon.com/Toilets and Titles. Speaking of that waiver wire episode, if you're at the $4.99 per month or higher level, then you get that waiver wire episode. Like I said, right after the Monday Night Football game, Nate and Joe gets to work, and they break down the waiver wire picks that the team throws together, and we get it out to you guys on the Patreon, patreon.com/Toilets and Titles, along with plenty of other perks like different leagues that you can join, discounts on different leagues. Now that we're starting to rebound a little bit from the cost that I spent at the expo on our Patreons and our team, maybe we can start thinking about some giveaways here pretty soon. But I missed 2 other pieces of news. One, Drake May looks like he's going to get the start this week, week 6, over Jacoby Brissett for Patriots. So that will be interesting. I know a lot of people
Anderson and Daniel Hunter are going to kill him.
Yeah. It's a rough game. I think they're like 6 or 7 point dogs. So 7
He's
point.
a big boy. Let him figure it out. It out.
There you go. You're a grown up now. Put your big boy pants on. And then the last piece of news I had on here is that the human predator settled yet another sexual assault civil lawsuit that was brought against him. So there's that. So that dude has more civil lawsuits against him than he does touchdown passes on a per game basis.
Did you see the McAfee clip I sent you where they were talking? The guy called him Osama bin Watson.
No, I didn't. Did you send it on TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't get on TikTok very often. Usually when I get on there, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I get on there and I've got like 47 messages from you, and I just sit. That's my evening. I like once every 3 weeks, my evening is just scrolling through Nate's TikToks.
It's the most recent one, so it's funny. You'll like it.
Okay. All right. Teams that are on bye this week. We got the Chiefs on bye. We've got the Rams with a very much needed bye week. The Dolphins also with a very much needed bye week, and then the Vikings who have some injury issues of their own too. So with that in mind, we've moved on to the game of the week, and for the first time in a while, I got to be the first guy to pick my game of the week this week. So I felt pretty happy about that because I keep taking a hit in the points by letting Mark choose first. But this past week, my game of the week was the Saints at the Chiefs, and not gonna lie, the Saints kind of let me down a little bit. I thought that they were going to keep that game a little bit closer. Chiefs did what the Chiefs do, and the 11 guys on the field, and then the refs as well. They were able to really pull off that much needed 13-point win that the Chiefs needed, since they never get any wins or any calls go their way. Yeah, I'm venting a little bit, but so that was a 13-point win or point separation. So that got me to 79. So not only am I still in last, now I'm in last by 10 more because Mark and Nate, your points were both 3. Mark, what was your game of the week?
My game of the week was Ravens at Bengals, and I think last week I pretty much gave you the narrative to the game. I said it was going to be a high-scoring game, back and forth. Joe Burrow was going to be one of the top quarterbacks of the week, and I said it was going to come down to a field goal. Came down to a missed field goal, and then a winning one by Justin Tucker.
There you go. So we lost Shep Stradamus. We got Mark Stradamus back to fill his place. So,
right.
Nate, go ahead, sir.
I had the Bills and Texans. I just thought it'd be close. Those guys, two of the, I guess, the AFC favorites, really. And I was just pretty excited for that game in general. I didn't know what it would actually, how it would go, but luckily Sean McDermott, I kind of feel like dropped the ball, and even the Nuka Collins injury, the Texans pulled it out. And like I said, it was a close game. It was fun. That's for sure.
So, Mark, you're still in the lead at 42 points total on the season. Nate, you're still in second at 54. And then I'm back there somewhere at 79. This week's game of the week, I went with the Lions. The Lions at the Cowboys. That's going to be a 4:25 p.m. start time. I feel like both earlier, I can't remember which one. One of you said that you felt like the Cowboys defense sucked, but they only gave up 17 points to the Steelers. So, it did seem like they gave up a lot of yards, but they weren't really giving up the points, and they were still making turnovers happen at just the right time when they needed them. But I like the Lions and the Cowboys defense just enough in this game to help keep the games close. I like the offense as well enough to score enough points to make it interesting. I think this is going to be a close one and a fun game to watch. And then, not to mention all the different fantasy football relevant players that are in that matchup. It's just a perfect storm for me. Mark, what is your game of the week?
My game of the week, there's a lot of craptastic games this week. Like, just games I don't even want to watch. So I went, since I have such a big lead, I went with a game I actually want to watch. I don't care if it's close or not, but the Cardinals in Green Bay. I think it's going to be a relatively high scoring game. I think it's going to be fun to watch Love and Murray go head to head.
I'll be watching that game too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I got the you get the Cardinals. The Bengals going to New York, play the Giants on Sunday Night Football. The Giants are fresh off a big win, and the Bengals are off a tough loss. And like I said, the Bengals defense is not good, and I don't know. I'm not saying the Giants are going to light the world on fire, but like I said, Daniel Jones looked good last week, and so did they looked pretty good. It'd be nice if Neighbors is going to play, but Wan'Dale Robinson will pick up the slack, and Darius Slayton, which is funny to say those guys are going to be the ones picking up the slack. But like I said, I think it's going to be a good football game. I really do, and it'll be Sunday night, so it should be fun to watch.
Man, you guys know that I admitted when I was wrong about Burrow, and I'm a man that's willing to admit when I'm wrong. And I had the narrative completely wrong on that Giants game. I thought that without Singletary and without Malik Neighbors, that offense was just going to be trash. But they look pretty decent. I mean, like good. Upset of the week. So this one's interesting to me as I'm looking at these because I put mine in first, and I thought it was kind of insane, but in past weeks, most of us have chosen games that are within like 3 or 4 points on the point spread. Once in a while, somebody will choose a 5 or a 6. We have 2 of us that have chosen kind of a big spread here. So I went with the Patriots over the Texans with that 7-point kicker. The Patriots are getting 7 points. Now, here's my reasoning, though. Drake May, they don't have any professional level game film on Drake May at this point. And a lot of times these new quarterbacks come in, they have a big game, and then they fizzle out after the other teams get some kind of game film on them and see what they look like in a pro offense. So there is that narrative. And then I've got the whole narrative of the Nico Collins issue where I saw that offense look like they were completely stagnant when Nico was out of the game after the first quarter. They looked great in the first quarter. It looked like they were going to roll. But after that injury, they started letting the Bills come back, and that ended up being just as we know because of how many more points I ended up getting stacked up on Mark and Nate. It was only a 3-point game, so it was so it ended up being a pretty close game there. The Patriots are not a good team. I'm not saying that by any means, but I think that you could get a spark from a backup quarterback, and you could see a down week or 2 from the Texans in that offense while they try to figure out the lack of Nico Collins. That could end up being a closer game. So I went with the Patriots, even though it's a 7-point dog, as my upset game of the week. Nate, you were the other one that chose a big one. Who do you got here? And don't say it.
The Washington football team getting 6.5 points going to Baltimore. Actually, I think I should have wrote this down because I knew it like a week ago, but the dogs have like 5 or more points this year in the NFL have been hitting like crazy. I know I had one last week and it didn't hit. The week before it did hit, I believe. But I think the Ravens are the way to beat them through the air, and Jaden Daniels, that's what they've been doing. I don't know necessarily I guess if it comes down to, a close game at the end, I feel like you give I lean towards the Ravens in that case to win the game, but I could see it being a field goal game, kind of like how it was last week with the Bengals and the Ravens. So, I don't trust the Redskins defense, but I trust their offense right now.
You said it.
Well, I did, didn't I? I'm sorry. I'm making T-shirts. It's going to say that. I still call them that. I don't. I want it back to normal. I'll give half the money to the tribe that wants them back with me.
Well, to help prevent you from saying it, sometimes it's best if you put the other name in the show notes. Then you don't accidentally say it either.
The Washington football team.
I was hoping that they would go with the Red Wolves whenever they were going through that whole name change thing. I
was hoping they would go with the Red Hogs. I mean, they have the guys who dress like hogs in the stands. It would have been a simple transition.
Yeah, and their tattoos would be easier to cover up. Mark, your upset game of the week. What do you got? And this one is cringeworthy, but there weren't very much left out there. But go for it.
So I went with this because I feel like I already said there's not a lot of games that I like this week. I feel like there's going to be a lot of lopsided games. So I went with Jacksonville over Chicago. I think they're the better team.
Yeah. Yeah, and with Tank Bigsby back there with the 2-headed monster now, who knows what that offense can do for around Trevor Lawrence, try to help him out. All right, start them or sit 'em. So for this one, what we're doing is we're taking players that are a QB1, tight end 1, RB1 or 2, wide receiver 1 or 2, and they're in that grouping right now as their yearly total, and we're sitting them for this week, or at least bumping them down, maybe making them a flex, maybe just only if we're desperate sort of situations. And then we're finding guys that are outside of that QB1, tight end 1, RB and wide receiver 1 and 2. And we're trying to find those guys that have good matchups or have good situations this week that we feel confident that we're going to start this week. So I'm going to start with mine. I am starting Caleb Williams this week. He's currently the QB 19. He's facing the Jaguars, who are last against the quarterbacks. Williams has been looking good against bad defenses this year, and the Jags have a bad defense. So this just kind of sounds logical. CJ Stroud is my QB sit of the week. I've already talked about my concerns here, but he is facing the Patriots, who are 8th against quarterbacks. And now without Nico, after the first quarter, the Texans just looked mid, like I said earlier. So with them facing the Pats defense that has their opponent, the Pats have held their opponents to an average of 20 points per game so far this season. And that includes the 2 games against the 49ers and the Bengals as well. So this defense could potentially really hold down that high up-tempo offense without a Nico Collins. So Tank Bigsby is my start. Obviously, I clearly love the guy because I've talked about him a lot now. He's the RB36 overall in the season since he really just got his opportunity, and he's facing the Bears, who are 23rd against running backs. Bigsby is just better than ETN right now, and the Bears just really aren't that good at stopping the run. Again, I think it's going to be more Bigsby on the ground, more ETN in the air, and then Jerome Ford is my running back that I'm sitting this week. Ford is currently the RB23. He's facing the Eagles, who are 14th against running backs. I keep seeing Ford get dropped or not dropped, but traded away as a vampire steal in Frankenstein. Like, if you win, you get to steal a player. And when you steal a player, you got to give him back somebody that's in your starting lineup. I keep seeing him as that piece that's getting sent over to the other team. So I'm guessing that Ford owners probably really aren't too pleased with the outcome right now. The Browns stink. The Browns abandon the run early and often. And I don't really see that changing this week, week 6 against the Eagles. So Jerome Ford is out for me. Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver for the Cowboys, is currently wide receiver 31, and he's my start of the week at wide receiver. He's facing the Lions, who are 31st against wide receivers. Tolbert is locked in as the wide receiver 2 in a pass-happy Cowboys offense. Locked in at least right now while they are suffering through their wide receiver injuries. But at least for the next few games, he's going to be that wide receiver 2. That alone makes him somebody that's worth starting to me. And then you figure in that the Lions are really bad against wide receivers, and this also really could be a shootout potentially. Then I'm even more thrilled at the prospects of having Tolbert this week as my wide receiver start. Juwan Jennings, wide receiver 12. Unfortunately, it's time to face the music. I'm gonna bench him this week. He's facing the Seahawks, who are 11th against wide receivers, but it's the target share for me that's just too inconsistent now that too many of the other options are back and healthy again. However, this is one of those where if I'm desperate, he still has that big play potential. Brock Purdy still likes him. They're still going to go to him from time to time, so he will have some opportunities. So he may still be flex worthy depending on your other options this week. I'm starting at tight end Jordan Akins. He's a tight end 21 currently right now. And for those of you that don't know, he's currently with the Browns. But I kind of chose this one because I got to make all my picks before the guys, so I at least want to leave them something to pick from. So I figured I'd choose the tight ends to give them something to choose from. But also, he's facing the Eagles, who are 4th against tight ends. So it's also a bad matchup. So he's on a bad team. He's a bad tight end, and it's a bad matchup. So why am I starting him? It's pretty simple. It's because he also has a really bad quarterback, and David Njoku with that meniscus tear. Most likely, if he is indeed out, then Jordan Akins is going to get those dump offs from that really bad rookie level quarterback, the human predator back there that Cleveland wants to call a quarterback as a dump-off guy. So I think that Akins could potentially have a big game and opportunity. So, again, that's more of a streaming thing. And then Dalton Kincaid is the tight end that I am benching this week. He's currently tight end 11, facing the Jets, who are third overall against tight ends. Kincaid is already just a fringe tight end 1, and he's a guy that I've never really been too happy about starting to begin with because he's just way too inconsistent at the tight end position, with only one game in double digits so far this season at 13.1 against the Jaguars. I just don't see that changing this week against the Jets. So that is my stardom and sit-em. Nate, you want to roll with it?
Yeah, the only time the Browns run are away from Deshaun in the locker room. I had to make you one. I've been sitting there waiting for that just because it's too easy. He's like a high school quarterback. It's that bad. Stardom, sit-em. Danny Dimes. I was talking about the Giants earlier. Big primetime matchup at home against the Reeling Bengals team. Coming off I just clicked the wrong tab, just threw me all over the place. Coming off a big win against the Seahawks, where they look good. Like I said, even without their best target, they look like a legit offense. So I say the best target, or Jones' best target, as well as their running back. So I kind of look for things to continue. And I said, I'm not. It's kind of weird to say that because he's been pretty inconsistent, but hopefully that he keeps it going. So I'm sitting Dak Prescott, or I guess I have to start him in a couple of leagues because I have him, but I'm just not really excited about it. I know the Lions have given up some, like I said, what did you say? They're 31st against wide receivers. But I'm hoping that Dan Campbell and the boys have kind of figured some things out over the bye week. I mean, they put a lot of emphasis on the secondary in the offseason, and I expected them to be better. I think the pass rush will get to Dak here and there. I think it's a tall order for some younger guys on the Cowboys offensive line to go against that pass rush. So, I think it's going to.
And to your point, to your credit, Dan Campbell is one of those coaches that tend to do pretty well coming off of a bye week.
Yeah. Running backs. Mark and I's favorite player in the NFL. I said Chuck Brown. That's what I call him. Chase Brown. He's RB27. Coming off a good performance against the Ravens. What do you have? I had the freaking numbers and I don't think I put them down, which makes a lot of sense. But like I said, he's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. And if Moss is hurt and out, that's obviously going to bump him up even more. So
yeah, 12 carries for 46 yards, 3 catches for 8 yards and a touchdown, 16.4 PPR. So pretty solid.
Yeah, good weekend. I'm sitting Ramondre. I know he said something about a knee injury, but I feel like he's going to play most likely, unless it's bad, I guess. But and I know they tried to bench him, but my thing is, I know maybe I'm saying this and this is wrong. He said RB21 right now, but I'm just nervous about what they're going to do with Drake May. I hope things work out, but I just feel like the Texans defense is going to be too much for anybody on that team. Whether they're going to try to just run, or have May throw. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't have any trust in Gerard Mayo. And I just think it's going to kind of trickle down from the quarterback. So on to the receivers. I'm starting Jameson Williams. He's been pretty great. I mean, like one catch, pretty great. That's really it. He's not going to have 8 catches. I know that. But the Dallas defense has struggled to kind of with some receivers, and I don't think they have anybody on either side of the ball that can keep up with Jameson Williams. Whatever they do. And like I said, I put that there. I don't think he's going to have 8 catches, but I could see 2 or 3 catches for like 80 yards and a touchdown. So, I have him in a lot of leagues, so of course I'm starting him, and it's been nice to, have it work out lately. Deontay Johnson is who I'm sitting. I said, well, the new war off or whatever this this team stinks. Andy Dalton and Bryce Young can't save the franchise. The only guy that can salvage Johnson's season is the best quarterback to ever wear a Panthers jersey, which was Jake Delhomme. Bring him out of retirement. They're toast. I couldn't believe Deontay had some like legit. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he's had some good numbers. I didn't draft him anywhere, so I wasn't really even aware of it. But that franchise is a nightmare. I think they're done.
Hey, choose one. Jake Delhomme or Jake Plummer?
Jake Delhomme.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen Jake Plummer recently?
No, do I need to?
Dude is selling psychedelic mushrooms.
Oh well, better check that out.
Like legal psychedelic mushrooms. He was on Good Morning Football. I think late last year. It was
Really?
it was something. It was pretty sweet. He's got a mullet, like the whole 9 yards.
I mean, I always like Jake the Snake Plumber, but
That's right. That's right. All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tight ends. Colby Jack Cheese Parkinson. Mark's guy from the Rams. What, you don't like that name?
No, I love it. Keep going.
He was, so I had to listen to the rest of the Packers game Sunday because I was coming home from the pumpkin patch, of course, because that's what everybody does on Sundays now. But it seemed like the only name I heard on the call on the Rams side was Colby Parkinson, and I'm like, holy moly! And he's a huge target. I think he had 13 targets, 7 catches, which isn't great, but the 13 targets makes me happy, especially if I'm streaming tight ends like I am. He's a guy that I'm going to start because I think that's going to be, wait, I put him on there. They're on a freaking bye week, you idiot. Oh, well. I just thought I put that.
I was going to let you keep going, and then
I'm sorry. I'll get you a new tight end.
Hey, for what it's worth, the way the tight end landscape is, you're getting 0 if you start him. That's not too far off getting streaming tight ends this year.
Yeah, that's how bad it's been for me, except for I have Tucker Kraft.
And the next one is blasphemy too. But go ahead.
I love Jake Ferguson. Believe me, I do. But it's the whole thing with I don't trust the Cowboys against the Lions right now. I think, like you said, Dan Campbell coming off the bye week, I think they're going to be ready to roll. And that's pretty much the only reason. I had a hard time looking through tight ends that I really didn't want to start.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wanted to start a guy that's on a bye week. That's how much I don't even like tight ends. So
before we get you going, Mark, I want to say hi to Duarte. He's in the chat. Appreciate you, buddy.
What's up, dude?
Patreon, Duarte. Let's see. All right, Mark, hit us with it.
All right, so quarterbacks, pretty easy one. Jordan Love's the quarterback 20. He's not going to be outside the top 12 for much longer, so might as well use him here while I can. Quarterback I'm benching, quarterback number 11, Justin Fields. I wouldn't start him over any of the other top 12 quarterbacks, and so I'm definitely benching him here. And if he continues to struggle, he's going to find himself benched in the NFL as well, because I don't know if you guys paid close attention to that game last week because it was on so late. But if you didn't, go back and rewatch the second half and pay close attention to George Pickens and how he ran his routes. Jogging would be a generous statement. Like he quit in the second half. Like he's frustrated, he's pissed off, and they're either going to bench Fields and go with Russell, or Tomlin's going to bench Pickens because he's not going to want to play anymore. Either one is a downside for Fields. So he's my bench. Running back, I didn't look at your guys when I was going, so I have the same running back as you, Justin. I went with Tank Bigsby, running back 29. I think he looked great last week. And like you already mentioned, ETN, he's playing much better in ETN, and I think we're going to see a change of the guard here pretty soon.
Well, I mean, obviously, my love for Bigsby has gotten to the point where it's borderline buying a jersey level, so I'm okay with it. I'll allow it.
Hell yeah.
I remember, I don't know if you remember, but there was a certain guy on the staff who was telling us that we shouldn't have been in love with Bigsby, and that we should have realized by now that he was a bad running back. You remember Dylan telling us that?
Yeah, maybe. I remember a couple guys saying that. I know Jason was on our side. I remember him saying that he was also still hanging on to Bigsby and Dynasty and hoping for the best. I do remember there were actually 2 people that were against Bigsby. I couldn't remember who they were, but I believe you. I believe you.
So the running back I'm benching is Zach Charbonnet. He's running back 15. With Walker healthy, he's useless in your lineup. Just bench him. But keep him on your bench until Walker gets hurt again, and then it'll be useful.
Hey, now,
Wide
I just stole Walker and Frank, so let's not.
I need Walker. Don't be saying that.
Don't be throwing that voodoo out
I
there,
don't
man.
care about your guys' Frank team. I'm 1
It
and
wasn't
4.
my Frank the same team. It's another league. Gosh darn it.
Wide receivers. I'm
We
starting.
don't wish injuries upon people here at Toilets to Titles unless you're the human predator. That's it. But go ahead.
I didn't wish an injury. I just said when it happens again because he gets hurt a lot.
You said you don't care about my fantasy football team.
I just think
it was the mouth coming out of the mouth of the guy that talks bad about Anthony Richardson getting hurt all the time. So it's just take it for what it's worth.
Okay, back to wide receiver. I'm going to start Brandon Ayuk. He's wide receiver 43. He had 147 yards last week, and we just saw Seattle get shredded by the Giants. So I think it's going to be easy pickings for the 49ers this week. I do want to say, though, like with Jennings, like he's obviously dropping down because Ayuk's stepping up and Samuel's healthy, Kittle's healthy. But last week, it's hard to judge because he got hurt on the third play of the game. And I don't know how serious he came right back, but we don't know if that injury lingered at all throughout that game. That could have played a part in him not getting any touches whatsoever. So I want to see one more week to see if he's usable as like not a wide receiver 1 or 2, but in your flex spot. The wide receiver I'm benching is Nico Collins, wide receiver number 2. And I'm not just benching him if he's hurt. If something comes out and he's going to play, I would still bench him because that hamstring injury isn't anything to mess with. And you could end up him going out there playing a couple snaps and being right back out. So he's most likely going to miss time, but on the slim chance that he goes out there and maybe they want to use him as a decoy or something, I wouldn't risk it. Tight ends, Sam Laporta. I think he's finally 100% now. And I mean, tight ends is such a shit show. Doesn't matter. And the tight end I'm benching is Cole Kmet. He's tight end number 7. He's still in the top 12 somehow, but he'll be falling fast and find himself out of there soon.
Very good, guys. We're gonna skip the keep him or quit him for this week. We're already at about an hour, and I've got a really, really long day of parent-teacher conferences tomorrow. So that's going to be rough to get through as it is. I do want to talk about. You guys didn't write anything in on these next 2 spots, but I do want to go over real quick the hot waiver ads. Believe it or not, I went with Tank Bigsby, and for all the reasons we've already talked about, my stream of the week is going to be Kirk Cousins. He's still only rostered in 45.2% of leagues, and he's facing the Panthers in Week 6. You know the rule: if they're playing the Panthers, you're going to start him. But then add in the fact that he just dropped over 500 on the Bucks last week, so like. That offense is clicking finally as far as, getting the ball moving and downfield and everything. So still would like to see a little bit more out of Bijan, but maybe it was just because he was banged up. We'll see how that goes.
I got one too real quick. Sorry. Oh, sorry, you're done. Go ahead, finish up.
No, I was going to move on, so you're good.
Tyrone Tracy's 18% rostered, so pick him up.
Oh, yeah. There you go. That's a good one.
That's the guy I'm keeping too, because I don't know about Singletary's injury. What's going to happen? Like I said, I think he looks good enough where they may just run both of them. So that's the guy I'm definitely picking up.
There you go. Have any write-off that you want to add, Mark?
I've seen a couple of leagues where Mike Wilson is still out on the waiver wire. So if he is, I would pick him up.
There you go.
And maybe keep an eye on Roschon Johnson. He scored last week, and I think the Bears need – I said that last week. They need to keep running the ball to help things out. And they ran the ball quite a bit more last week. So, and Roschon, like I said, it's something really, really low. I just looked 11%. So, if you got a spot to stash him, maybe, see how it goes over the next couple of weeks.
We do got Jerry Bagshaw in the house. What's going on, buddy? Unfortunately for you, I had to take you down in Frank this week. So I do. That's who I got Walker from. So this is one of those awkward moments where I just celebrated it while he was watching. So I kind of feel bad, but I only feel bad because you're a Patreon. but anyway, So the next segment. I remember what I was going to say. You mentioned Michael Wilson. Not that this has anything to do with that necessarily. It just reminded me. Zay Jones is actually off of his suspension now, but the Cardinals have requested an extra exemption week to determine what they're going to do with him. In other words, they're going to give him a week to try to get up to speed and try to get up to game shape. And if he's not, then there's a good chance they're probably just going to cut him. But if he is able to come out there and play and do anything for the team, we might see Zay Jones within a week or two. But honestly, I think Michael Wilson has played well enough that we probably won't see too much of Zay on the field. Let's face it, Zay was never really that great to begin with. But he is a wide receiver that has starter experience with the Jaguars. So that could throw in something for some of your deeper leagues. If you're in some of those really deep, crazy leagues where you're rostering wide receivers 4s and 5s from teams, just something to think about. Go out and see if he's still available. Got to do the one and done eliminator game though. So let's see. And not because I'm in the lead, because I'm not anymore. Nate took over the lead. So I didn't keep. Oh yeah, wait. We have that other sheet here. So Nate, last week you went with Jaden Daniels. You got 22.72. James Cook got you 17.9. Stephon Diggs got you 14.2, and George Kittle with that says 20.4, but he only got 20 that I saw. I think. Maybe it was 20.4. I don't know. I'll fix it later if I need to. Anyway, he got over 20 points. So you went really heavy this week with good players, kind of contrary to what you had been doing. So you used up some big names there, but you took a big jump in points and took over the lead. What are you going with this week?
Hey, going back to who I've been talking about all night, Daniel Jones against the Bengals. I don't know why, but I think I gotta, like I said, after using Jaden Daniels last week, I'm like, I don't want to be wasting all my guys again. So yeah, we'll try Daniel Jones, see how it goes. DeAndre Swift, like I said, if the Bears are going to continue to play well, they've won 8 games in a row at home. That's like the most ever. So who knows? I hope they don't, but maybe this will jinx them. Receiver Terry McLaurin against the Ravens. I said earlier how I don't think the Ravens. I know the Ravens don't have a good pass defense, so I like them. And then my guy Dalton Schultz against the Patriots. With Nico Collins gone, I think he's going to look elsewhere. I know the crybaby Steph Diggs will get his. Who knows about Tank Dell, but I think Schultz will get targets regardless.
Schultz is a smart move right there. I should have thought of that. But I dropped down to second place, and I don't like the feeling of that. I'm used to being in first in this thing, so I pulled a Nate, and I went with all of my big names this week. So, or at least 3 of them. The other one is just because I gotta use him eventually, and he has a good matchup. But I'm going with Lamar against Washington. I feel you on Jaden Daniels, and I think that both of them are going to get a lot of fantasy points this week going up against each other. So I'm going to take Lamar, save Jaden again for another day. Bijan Robinson, because he's going against the Panthers. If he is going to have a breakout game, it's got to be this week against the Panthers. CD Lamb against Detroit, like we keep saying, like there is at least a good chance it's going to be a bit of a shootout there in Dallas. So, and then the guy with the good matchup that I'm throwing in there is Zach Ertz, just because, starting this many tight ends, 17 over the course of the entire season. Eventually I got to play him anyway. I'm going to play him. I'm going to play the matchups with my tight ends as I go, but I'm only about 5 points behind you. So I look to take the lead back after this week.
Most likely. Mark will probably pass me up this week.
Mark, you're sitting about 42 behind me, so about 47 behind Nate. I didn't go over who I chose last week either, did I? So last week I got 20, almost 21 out of Jordan Love. I got 20 on the dot with DeAndre Swift. That's probably who I was thinking of when I mentioned Kittle. Pittman got me 14.7. And then Tyler Conklin he got 11.5, which was the most I've gotten out of a tight end all season. So that was a relief to get into double digits. But all right, Mark, go ahead.
All right. So an important part for everybody with this segment is you want to pay attention to who I pick at quarterback, because you want to bench him this week. whoever I pick at quarterback is awful. Last week I had Josh Allen, one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in the league, right? 16. Nope. All right. And then I had Jordan Mason, San Francisco rushing attack, right? Nope. 8 points. Who else do I have? DK Metcalf. Rich has been pounding his chest all season about him, how great he's been. They're going against the lowly Giants. Nope. 7.5. Tight end, Travis Kelce.
He had a big game.
He had a good game, 16 points. So maybe I'm the tight end whisperer. I can bounce them back.
You've gotten more from tight ends than we have.
I got 20 out of Kittle last week.
Yeah.
On the season, Mark is winning.
Oh, I'm terrible at tight ends. I mean,
yeah.
I've only had one in double digits of tight ends.
All right. So for this week, the quarterback everybody wants to bench is going to be Brock Purdy. We just watched the Giants get Seattle get torn up by Daniel Jones and the Giants, which Nate, that's got to be hard to say that you're starting Daniel Jones, right? Like
I'm kind of pumped about it. Actually,
doesn't come out normally, right?
I hang out with Joe every Monday. We talk Giants every Monday. I get pretty jacked up about Daniel Jones. Pretty easy to do.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, with all that said, Brock Purdy should have a very easy game this week, but we'll see. We'll talk about it next week for sure. Running back. I can't mess this one up, right? I went Bijan Robinson against Carolina as well. You might want to change it. I mean, this one I feel like it can't fail. It's Carolina's defense.
Start Tyler Algier.
Right. All right. So then we're moving to wide receiver. I'm going to go with Chris Godwin. I mean, he should get a ton of targets going against the Saints. That's a big matchup for them. And then tight end, I'm going with French Fry over in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's while Fields is in there, that's the only position he actually likes to throw the ball to, really, is tight end. So
top 5 tight end. Absolutely. Your TD parlay.
Okay.
Now, I understand that by choosing a quarterback, he has to get it rushing. But I'm doing this twofold. For one, I just know that Jaden Daniels against Baltimore is going to get a rushing touchdown. He's going to want to show up the quarterback on the other side and get his own rushing going. But also, I kind of figure that since he's a quarterback, maybe that would bump up the odds a little and bump up the payout for you a little bit because we're getting it this week. So I've got Jaden Daniels at Baltimore.
I was just going to say, if we want to talk about bumping up the payout, we got to actually pick people who can score touchdowns. Like last week, we went 0 for 3. No, last week, all of us missed. We went 0 for 3. Now. We might as well just start taking shots at kick returners at this point.
Hey, don't tempt me with a good time. Hey, a $20 bet on 3 kick returners, though, that would be like $1 million payout. That might be worth a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I was sick not picking a touchdown winner last week, so I'm going with the easy pick here in Bijan Robinson. If he doesn't score, I don't know who will score.
I'm an idiot. I took Saquon Barkley because, I mean, come on. He's the only guy that scores on that dang team. And I put versus Philly. I mean, they're playing the Browns, right?
Yeah, They're playing the Browns.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the damn thing this week.
We got this. Like and subscribe, guys. Hit that like button. Reach out to us for the Discord invites. Again, that's at Toilets of Titles, at JustinFF_, at MT Simon, at Nate_Dirt19. And then, of course, Patreon.com/Toilets of Titles. Hit us up on all those different levels. We just got a new Patreon earlier this week, a couple days ago, because he wanted to enter our IDP Patreon-only Dynasty League. He was filling in for Wicked, actually. So he's jumping in just to be able to join that league. So Frankenstank invites to certain levels, and then free entry for the $9.99 a month level for the Frankenstank League. Probably gonna have to throw together a Frankensteak episode here pretty soon, fellas. I don't know if we'll do that on the Tuesday night show or if I'll just throw out a special bonus episode one night. But I'm gonna need to put together something like a third of the season through review or something like that. But I get the itch with Frank. So
is that episode gonna be to announce that I get to keep my Michael Myers card even though I lost? Like,
oh no, it gave me
my card.
It gave me great joy to drop that card for you today, my man. Because if you would have kept winning, then you would have had that 20% bonus against me in that fourth week.
You would have used your Ghostbuster card.
Exactly. I would have had to have wasted my Ghostbuster. So I like hanging on to that Ghostbuster. So now I get to hang on to it.
How many points? What did it was 10%, right? So Shane still lost 30 points.
Yeah.
30 some points. Like well, good. He gets that off his score for killing Michael.
Yeah, at least you stabbed him on your way down.
Yeah. But come on, we need to tweak that card because Michael Myers does not die. We all know that from the movies. He just doesn't die.
Well, I mean, all the monsters die in this league. This is about the heroes. Yeah. No, we may have to tweak it, but honestly, I think that the other three were effective. So I think it was only 1 out of 4 that wasn't. So as long as it still remains a strong card, it won't get tweaked too much.
You're such an ass for saying that too, by the way.
Yeah,
only 1 of 4 that wasn't effective. Thanks. Yeah.
You picked up on that. Have a great night, guys. We love you. Appreciate you.
See ya.
With the million podcasts out there, we're grateful you chose Toilets to Titles. We give fantasy football advice to get your crap team to the finals. From Nate's cousin Eddie Persona and his unapologetic love for Chubb and Justin's hatred for Chris Ballard, our show is as good as a
Hey, we forgot. You got to guess. What's the tune?
Oh, I was going to ask you that. Is it like Barbershop Quartet?
No, actually.
It's like New Orleans, like, oh, shoot. Like, not Bayou, but it's like that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, well, technically it was listed as jazz, but I was thinking Barbershop Quartet too.
Yeah.
Kind of a combination. All right, but anyway, that's our show. Thanks a lot, guys.